John Henry, welcome to Talk Badminton.
Martin Hargrave, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me.
Are you excited?
Yes, I mean, to be among the good and the great, I suppose. Yes, definitely.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? You find connections with people. I think that's the thing. That's all I'm keen to do. Maybe we can reintroduce some new people to badminton that haven't played for a long time, that kind of thing, you know?
That would be good. Well, obviously, Mr. Bell, I think you interviewed the other day, which was rather interesting.
Yeah.
So, he's such a good player. It'd be good to see him back on the court and leading by example.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's fire on the question. So, first question, your full name, please.
Is John William Henry. Three
William.
first names. Oh, yes, posh, you know.
Where's the William come from?
My mother's side, that's William Thompson, without a P. So it's from that side of the
Sorry,
family.
say that again. What was it, William what?
William Thompson, without a P. Thompson.
Say, all right, okay.
Yeah, Willie Thompson.
Thompson. And your age?
58 tomorrow.
Wow, congratulations. Happy birthday for tomorrow.
Had a hard paper round.
That's brilliant. So when's that? It's 19... What was that, 62? 1963, yeah, cool. Where was your home area? It's funny because obviously I know you and I've played with you before when you're in Peebles a wee bit. But I don't really know your history. Well, I just had that kind of those fleeting conversations on the side of the court before we play. Where are you from originally, John?
I'm from Govan, Glasgow.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did you do you have any brothers or sisters? Sorry.
Yeah, I've got a sister Susan who now lives in Canada. She's lived there for about 40 years.
Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Why did she move there?
Well, she was a nanny to a posh family in Selkirkshire, just outside Peebles, which you know. Mm-hmm. And their son or daughter was at an age where they didn't need a nanny. So she was recommended to go and work for their friends in Canada, which she did. And then everybody wanted Susan to work for them. So wow. Susan said, oh, hang on a minute, business opportunity. So she formed her own daycare centre in her own home, which she still does to this day. She's about to retire, actually, and move up to the lakes north.
So she's kind of been a carer to lots of different families, is it, over the years?
Yes, but mostly over in Canada.
In Canada? Wow, amazing. What area of Canada is she?
She's in Ontario just now, but they're moving up to like near the Lake Nipissing. That is the correct pronunciation of it. And so they're moving up to like a house.
Have you been over?
I've been over once, which is not very pleasing to her. Once in all those years is not very much, but still lovely.
Maybe later on. What age were you when you first played badminton?
9.
Where was that? In Govan?
No. I'd moved to Selkirk. We moved to Selkirk in 1972.
Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to shut this door, if you don't mind. This the wife's. You're going to hear a lot of clanking pots and pans. I've just had my lunch and the wife's tidying up. So.
You sure it's not to hit you in the back of the head with a frying pan for
maybe. Sorry, you're saying, yeah. So when you first played, you're in Govan.
No, I was in Selkirk. Primary 6, I think it was.
What age were you then?
I was 9.
So when you moved, you were in Govan.
We moved over to the borders. We lived in Hawick, Jedburgh, Selkirk, Lilies.
Go back. How did you get from Govan to the borders?
Mum and Dad moved over to the borders.
From Govan?
Work. I think it was work related.
From Govan?
Yes.
And what was it your mum or your dad or who?
Mum and Dad, they both moved over there.
And they both moved to work in the borders instead?
Mm-hmm.
Why the borders from Govan?
I don't really know, to be honest. Dad had so many different jobs. I can never keep up.
What was his main job you remember when he came over from Govan? Do you remember it? You were 9, so you'd remember, would you?
Well, I think he worked in the woolen mills. The mills.
Oh, really? Like Pringles or something?
That was the main state of business here back then, and the electronics industry as well. But as we know, it's all going overseas now, so much to the detriment of all the border towns, really.
I know. It's been a massive change over the years, hasn't there, in the borders for knitwear and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you played badminton when you were 9, did you say?
Yeah, 9.
And where did you play?
It was at Now Park Primary School, which is in Selkirk.
Selkirk, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a Mr. Walsh who was the one of the teachers, and he introduced us to that. And then we actually got the opportunity to play against another school. I can't remember which one it was, but we beat them. And, you know, as a young 9-year-old, that was a real elation, and gave me that hunger, that bite that, you know,
that you took all the
introduced me
time.
to badminton
And when
properly.
going back to that, do you remember the very, very first time you went
Went where?
to badminton? Was it at school?
Yes, it
So it was
primary
just in
school.
class, and there was just a big bucket of rackets, and you just pick
Yeah.
a racket and pick a shuttle, and
That's pretty much it. And back in those days, you were looking at the Carlton 4.3s, which was as heavy as a claymore sword
Aye.
for a wee boy.
Aye. No, that's interesting. And then, and was it very popular with other kids at the school as well at that
Not so
time?
much. There was only a handful of us that actually played. And when we went to the high school, Selkirk High School, it was introduced there also by the PE teacher.
Right. Going back to, can we go back to Mr. Wolf? So when you went there to Mr. Wolf, what did he teach? Do you remember?
Just general, primary 5. You'd be
Primary
taught
5 teacher,
subjects,
but they teach everything, don't they?
specific. Yeah.
Aye, primary 5. And was it like was it a PE class, or was it a club after school? What?
It was, I can't quite remember the truth. I've been making it up. I probably think it'd be.
When was the first? Do you remember when your first club was? Then do you remember when you first went to a plan that was at school, a high school? Was that when it went up there?
It was Selkirk High School, and I remember being too young to join. You could only join when you were 16.
Really?
So I used to go up because I was so keen on badminton by that time.
Ah.
I would go up and sit on the floor and watch all the adults play, thinking one day I'm going to play in this club. And I learned a lot by sitting watching these people in more ways about commitment, as well as, you know, how to play the game.
Were you playing? So when you were up there watching, were you playing like at school and all that stuff then, or just in
Yeah.
PE classes, or did you find other people to play with at that time
Yeah,
or not?
we got time to play at lunchtimes and stuff. There's a little sort of band of us that
In high
played,
school?
and also after school we could play as well. So I was being active to a point, but there was no real coach. I mean, our PE teacher did coach us, and I don't know what level of coach he was, but it was kind of very rudimentary.
Yeah. How to hold a racket and all that kind of stuff. No, and it's it's interesting. And so you didn't really get. Do you remember when the first kind of coaching you had was, or do you remember learning? And did you was it your own commitment? And sorry, what I was going to ask you was, do you remember anybody that you kind of grew up playing with? Was there anybody that you knew back then that you know now that plays?
Yes, not somebody so much I played with, but somebody I played against was a chap called Ian Johnson.
Right.
Now, Ian Johnson was one of the Hoyt players, and
Ian Johnson's he's a umpire for England. Yeah.
that's right. He went. It's the weirdest thing. I'll tell you a wee story if I can. I was playing in the Kent Restricted down when I lived in Kent for about 30 years.
We'll come to that. Yeah.
Tap on the shoulder, and it was Ian Johnson. I turned around and said, "Sorry, who are you?" He said, "Ian Johnson." Oh my God, what are you doing here? He said, "Oh, I'm a police officer." And so I rummaged into my kit bag, and I pulled out my police badge as well. You believe it? See, Hoyt and Selkirk would gone all that way. It was awesome.
Amazing. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that question, right? What was the name of your first club? Oh, sorry. Let's go back to the racket. So when you first started playing, it really was Now Park Primary School, right?
Mm.
And the first ever racket?
First ever racket when I left
Your own.
school.
I'm talking about your own racket, right?
Yeah, my own racket. You're gonna laugh at this. It was called a Sondico, Sondico. It was a twin shafted effort.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
It was like the cheapest metal ever, and I remember it snapped when I was snapped it off. It did.
Sondico. Do they still go? Do you think?
I blink and hope not.
I wonder if they do. I'm just gonna have a little look and see if they're still there.
Sondico.
Sondico. Sondico, right?
Yeah.
Sondico Sports. Look at that. No, Sondico at Sports, and it does say that still Sondico football equipment, goalkeeper gloves. Wow. Maybe not badminton.
They made a racket.
Maybe not baseball, boots in football. They seem to be into football. Fascinating. Wow, Sondico. Do you remember that? Was that a model? Did it have anything like that?
I don't
Let's
know.
go Sondico. Let's Google that. Let's just Google the images and see if I can find a racket.
It was twin shafted racket, and there can't be many companies would make a twin shafted racket?
Badminton. 1 second. I'm just Googling the... Sandico Badminton. Nah, it doesn't actually look like it. Sandico. I don't know actually. Look, there's that. Look, watch this. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Start again. 1 second. Sure. 1 second. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
1 second. Can you see my screen?
I can see your screen, yeah.
Sandico.
Oh,
You
look
see
out.
that?
Yeah, oh, look out.
Jeez, oh. Let's try. Look at them. Wow. Yondico going into Yonex's now. Wow, look at that. Actually, now I see it, I recognise the logo.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, back in the day,
There's that look on the
I'd be
right.
playing with the Greys and the Dunlop match.
Sorry, it was there. 1 second, I'm going to get it back again because it was there. Share. 1 second, screen 2.
What, the twin shaft?
Yeah. It was there. Look, there it is. There it is. Look at that. Can you see that?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I wasn't lying, you see.
Oh, that's brilliant. Good.
Gracious.
There
What an
we are.
effort.
We'll find
Yeah.
the racket. Sandico. The name of your first club
So it'll be Selkirk.
was Selkirk. So when you actually waited till you were 16, did you?
Yep. I waited till I was 16 and I watched everybody because I also went up to watch the league matches which were also held in Selkirk on a Sunday afternoon. So you could hold 3 matches within the space of about 5 hours, alternating the middle court.
Aye.
So I'd sit and watch these as well. And I'd watch the same people on a Monday night that practiced or didn't come to practice on a Monday night.
Wow.
Play on a Sunday. So I thought, one day, if I'm going to be in this club, I'll be captain.
Why did you? Why? How was it? I mean, you obviously loved badminton, but how did you end up with? Why badminton? Or was your family into badminton, or why badminton?
Nothing. It was just Mr. Walk. That was the reason I got into badminton. My family, apart from my sister who played hockey when she was young, did no sports whatsoever. There was no encouragement from parents, no assistance from parents. I did the whole thing, all the travelling by bus, or I'd run everywhere because I was
going back to the start. I'm talking about the start. So I just wonder how long did you wait between? How often did you go up there, and for how long were you before you could play? How long did it take for somebody in the club when you were 13, 14, whatever it was? What age was that then? Did you start going up like 14 or 15 or something?
14, yeah. So I was up for the best part of 2 years. Not every Monday, but I'd go up and I'd sit and I'd watch it because I just wanted to be on the court. And said, "Oh, you've got to be 16 because it's an adult club." Obviously, we didn't have, the times when you can have juniors playing up until, say, 8 o'clock, and then they had to go home, and then the adults would take over. So there was none of that mixing to bring the juniors on.
Yeah. And who was it that ran that club? Do you remember?
Oh, I think it's people like Catherine Henderson. She was one of the sort of mainstays of that club, and the Nichols.
Really?
I can't remember too much about them or who did it, but I ended up being captain of the whole team, the 3 teams that we had.
And was there a lot of people back in the day? Obviously, Selkirk don't have a team anymore, but was there a lot back in that time? How many people were going to the club when you were there?
Well, you'd certainly fill 4 courts and up to 3 benches, the low benches.
All with Selkirk people, or people from Hoyk as well come over?
Occasional visitors, but mostly Selkirk people.
Wow.
It was heaving. Oh, there was over 30 people at a club night sometimes, and you had to wait. So,
what names do you remember?
Well,
do you remember any?
David Brown, Ian Wilson. Murray Quickhorn played for a while. Do you know Murray Quickhorn?
No, I don't know.
He was a legend, amazing golfer. And Murray Quickhorn also took a club on a Wednesday night whereby he actually coached us for quite a period of time, and that really brought a lot of our games on in Selkirk. Yeah, very much so. But say Kath Henderson, it's going back a long time now. I can't really remember.
Yeah, it's surprising that what you could
but
get.
Nobody that went to Selkirk really. When there was a chap that came, Keith Allen and his wife Lynn, who you may know. Keith and Lynn played county doubles, and I think it was Surrey. When Keith came to Selkirk Badminton Club, his backhand smash was harder than anybody's forehand smash that I'd ever seen.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, you
Isn't it
still play.
amazing that a place can have that many people playing every single week, and then you look at now,
Yeah.
they don't even have a club, right?
No, they've got nothing. I mean, they do have a handful of people on a Monday night, but sometimes you can go up. If you get 6 people, you're doing really well. And unfortunately, the standard isn't there. So that I started to seek going elsewhere, and I lived in Peebles, as you know, for a while. So
Yeah.
I travelled up to Edinburgh a lot and played at Pennycook in the Heather Leagues.
It's terrible. We'll come back to those things. So, do you remember the shuttles that you played with
Oh dear, where do we start?
at the club? What were they? Yeah, at the when you start at club, what were they? Feathers
Yeah.
or plastic?
Oh, we played with plastics. It was always plastic until the mid-80s, really. And it'll be Mavis, probably 300s or something,
Yeah, that's right.
or Carltons, whatever could get hold of. But it was the blue ones, and occasionally someone would come out with one of the red ones.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a bad day out.
Maybe it's 3 years as well. But obviously, when you were in that club, the league, I guess, was in Berwick then.
No, it was in Selkirkshire leagues. So Hawick was encompassed into the Selkirk. Yeah, it was a border league, but Duns, etc., wasn't in our league. Berwickshire League was completely separate to ours. So
So it was
Hawick, I think,
Hawick,
6 teams,
Selkirk,
Jedburgh,
Galashiels, what?
Shields. There wasn't that many in the league itself, and so 4 or 5 clubs in the league, but we all had multiple teams in
Do you
those
remember
leagues.
what teams? I mean, I don't know. I know Berwickshire and I know Northumberland from Berwick, but in the Hawick and Roxburgh League, I suppose Roxburgh and Selkirkshire League, who would have teams? Peoples.
Peebles was in the league. That's right, Peebles as well. Yeah,
So
Peebles,
who
Hawick,
would have
Jedburgh, Selkirk,
Peebles,
Gala,
Hawick? Who
Selkirk,
could you name the
Gala,
clubs for me?
Jedburgh. No, not now. Hawick, Wilton,
Peebles, Selkirk, Jedburgh, Hawick,
Hawick, and Gala.
not Kelso, would that be in Berwickshire?
Gala.
Gala. So
I think Gala
five
had a
teams.
couple of teams.
Five,
Yeah,
is that right?
at least 5 there was, yeah. And we were kept busy for sure.
Isn't that amazing? You have 5 teams, and that was in Selkirkshire and Roxburghshire, and
Yeah.
then Berwickshire had probably had Kelso, Duns, where else? Coldstream? No, yes, yeah, I
Oh
don't know.
yeah,
Actually.
it'd been that, yeah. Uh-huh.
Greenlaw probably. Greenlaw did have a team, I'm sure. In fact, at one time.
Eyemouth maybe.
Aye, really over the Eyemouth, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting. So do you remember when you first coaching? Back to the questions.
When I first got coached,
Got coached, and by whom? Yeah.
well, the first time I got properly coached, I would say it was Murray Cleghorn in Selkirk. He was a coach, and he did extremely well for a lot of us.
Does
He's no
he still
longer
play
with us.
now, or is he too old? How old was he?
No, unfortunately passed away no more than 2 years ago.
Oh, that's a
But he
shame.
was a very well-known guy in the Borders, certainly for his golf.
Is he?
And he was
Murray
up with
Cleghorn will do a
all-rounder.
bit of research there.
Yeah,
Um,
he do.
And do you remember the first thing you learned?
Holding a racket. And it's a
Grip.
it's
The
a
grip.
huge bugbear when we now, for anybody I see not holding a racket correctly. You cannot not see it, you see, that's the thing.
And do you remember your first tournament?
Yes, my first tournament was, I think it was 82, and it's the Borders Championship. It's Borders and Roxburgh Championship, or Selkirk and Roxburgh Championship it's called. And yeah, that was up in the high school in Selkirk.
Right. And were you getting people from all over? Was it open? Or was it people from all over come to that?
It was open, and the reason I can say that is because we had lovely players from Duns coming over.
Oh, really?
Messrs. Oh, hang on, I've got it written down. Bear with me. Messrs. Lyon Hardy.
Oh, really?
Not Lorwyn Hardy, but Ian and Peter Hardy Senior.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes. And we had the legend from Hawick, Alan Bailey, and Charlie McCreary. They played together.
Was that Alan Bailey the architect?
I don't know what he did for a living.
He was Alan Bailey was the architect in Hawick.
Was he?
His
His grandson plays now.
He was really tall, was he? Really tall.
I think he was. Going back a long time. I'm going back how many years now?
I know. I think Alan Bailey was
Over
like taller
40
than
years
Peter
ago.
Hardy. Peter Hardy's tall, and he was a towering guy. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So yeah, we played him in the final.
Wow.
And the thing was that Hardy.
When you say we, who is that?
Pardon?
When you say we, who is that?
Well, myself and Gavin Hamilton. Gavin played for Galashiels.
Gavin Hamilton, is that right?
Yep, Gavin Haltz. He's a solicitor in Gower Shields.
I know
Smith and
Gavin
Partners.
really well.
I've known him since, well, way back since then.
Smith and Partners, yeah.
Smith and Partners, yeah. So we played them in the final.
Yeah, it's Gavin. Yeah, Smith and Partners. Is that right? Is that the name?
Yes, yes. Ian Smith and Partners.
Ian Smith and Partners.
Gavin's now a partner in the business. He came from Hamilton, actually. Gavin
Really?
Hamilton's from Hamilton, yeah.
I had
And I
no
met
idea.
him playing at Gower.
And you won.
We beat Lyle and Hardy in the final. I don't know what the scores were, but it's a bit of a mismatch because they were off. Wait for it.
I was a handicap.
My handicap, yeah. Minus 17. Gavin and I off -4, so it would have been hard pushed for us not to win that. It was a bit unfair.
That's so funny.
And Murray Cleghorn was the organiser of that. So if anybody's got any complaints, they're going to have to deal with them up in the great gods.
Wow. So, who was your main competition growing up? Do you remember having anybody in particular that you aimed at?
It'd be Hoyt. It'd be the Ian Johnson, really. And
Was it?
I think that Ian played. I've got another thing written down. Ian Johnson played with, I think it was Martin Aitken. So these were the guys in Hoyt with, our sort of nemesis, if you like, as a club. So
I know Guy Patterson. Do you know Guy Patterson, the electrician's in Hoyt? I forget his first name. Patterson's electricians in Hoyt. I've seen the guy, Patterson. I used to play doubles. He used to come across the Berwick upon Tweed and play. He was in doubles. He was a blonde guy, quite tall, and he's got an electrical contracting company called Patterson's in Hoyt.
If I saw an image of him, Martin,
I bumped into him, and he doesn't play anymore. He's got horses in Hoyt now.
Right.
Who's your main competition growing up? Did you say that? You said
Yep.
Ian and Martin Aitken. Cool. There was a name actually came up from somebody. I maybe need to check on the chat. There was a message came up from somebody on a guy that moved to Galashiels that disappeared. Did you see that in the chat on Facebook?
Was that just after your Peter Hardy interview?
I think it was Peter's. There was talk of somebody who moved to Galashiels.
That's right. I only just read that this
Yeah,
morning.
I need to look it down. I need to find the answer to that. Somebody that moved to Galashiels and was a really good player.
Yeah.
And I think it was Kevin Stango's interview. Somebody that moved to Galashiels and then disappeared after it. There we are. What clubs do you play now? Obviously, COVID exclusive.
Yeah, I've been the St Boswell's Club, which is the one court hall in St Boswell's. It's a Tuesday and Thursday night. Now, the beauty of that now is they've got a lot of the young players that are coming in. A young guy called Ben Rodriguez and Alan Bailey's grandson.
Is he?
Ewan, sorry. And so some of the guys who Duns are coming as well. Ian,
Really?
So they're bringing a lot more vigour into the game.
That's great.
And also now that we've got the board of badminton tournaments as well, that Stuart Bell and Harry Turnbull, who's a name you will.
Yeah, I'm interviewing him Monday.
Yeah. They've now introduced these tournaments. Obviously, with COVID, we've not been able to, but we're now getting players from Midlothian as well as the Berwickshire area as well, which is really injecting a lot of good badminton into the borders again.
And how many people will go to that St Boswell's?
I would imagine about 16 of an evening. So with a
one court.
There's a wee bit sitting out.
Sorry, did you say one court?
Uh-huh.
16 people.
I got up to come back to you about that. Yeah, and a good night. Yeah, it's very well populated.
And why did they have to go to that hall and not just go to like the Elston or whatever, the high school or whatever?
Well, there's Elston on Monday night as well. So a lot of the sort of more keen players.
So what nights did they say that? Was it Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Tuesday, Thursdays there, and Elston on Monday.
That's good, isn't it?
They'll
Two
get
nights, and then you've got a Monday as well. And a lot of people will go. There's a lot of people that will go to all three.
Yes. Yeah, not a lot of people, but yeah, there is a lot of the same faces. And then, as I say, when the tournaments are on, we've got that. Plus, as you know, up to Edinburgh to play in the EBAs, up to the bronze and silvers. So
it's all good. That's it. I mean, the Edinburgh scene is all good, isn't it? I would like to see.
Oh yeah.
And what about Berwick upon Tweed? Do you see much in Berwick upon Tweed happening? Do you see people from Berwick coming over? I know Mickey Patterson.
It's the Duns lot that come
Mickey
over.
Rogerson comes over, doesn't he? So for the handicap, Michael Rogerson. I don't know if you know him from near Berwick.
Name rings a bell.
Yeah, with Stacey Patterson, the two of them play together. Stacey comes over as well, I think. And I know there's so I think it's probably through frustration. There's not enough going on, so everybody has to
Yeah.
travel.
Well, I mean, I think I speak for everybody in the Borders. Very grateful for these people coming down and bringing the game back up to a standard where it used to be, and hopefully above. So it's great for the people setting out that maybe have never had a career, a competitive career, to look at how good badminton can actually be. So it's an inspiration, really.
And is the standard very mixed, or how is this? How is the
Yeah,
standard? Obviously, there's a
it's injected a fantastic depth now
yeah.
from the Berwickshire people, who are a lot higher than me, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, to people who are just quite happy to go along in club night and ping around, and doesn't matter whether they win or lose. So it's good for everybody. It always brings your game on, regardless.
Yeah, isn't it fantastic?
Mm.
I think the handicap tournament is particularly good for mixing partners and mixing players of different standards, and everybody, you're accountable for yourself, but you're both fighting
Yeah.
to win. I enjoyed the handicap tournament. I have to say, it's really well organized. It takes a lot of thinking about, and it's quite frustrating when you're doing well for the handicap to change halfway through, kind of thing. And you think,
It is. I mean, I have said, Stuart, I know you're going to watch this. I mean, I'll turn to the desk and Stuart, really? Before I walked on court.
yeah, it's good fun.
I'm just competitive, I'm just, I am.
You just, let's face it, you just do it for the Cadbury's chocolates at the end. That's what everybody does it for. What's your current favourite racket?
Well, this one here.
Is that Lindan? What's that?
No, that's the Yonex 100 limited edition, which I think is based around the frame of the Arc Saber 10.
Oh, really?
I know they're selling for over 200 quid a pop now because they don't make them as a limited edition.
Was it just a new thing? Is it just a new?
No,
Take out the cover. Let's have a look at it.
It was well, I can't remember. I bought it at the All England.
I had the Arc Saber 11. No, did you?
I've got two Arc Saber 11s, and I've got this.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice.
See that? Is that the right way around?
Yeah, it's upside down. Still upside down.
I don't know. Sorry, yeah, I don't know.
No, you need to. That's it. That's better. Arc Saber 100. Nice. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
How long have you had that?
I've had that. Well, I can't remember. I've had that quite a few years.
Have you?
Because I got it at the All England during the 100th year of they made it for that year.
Wow.
So yeah, I've been down to the All England courts.
Arc Saber 100. Nice. Is that the only one? Or you've got 11s as well.
I've got two 11s and two 10s.
Okay. How do you? What string tension do you go for?
Unfortunately, I was playing at 28, which is a wee bit high for me because, as you know, if you don't hit the sweet spot, you're going to snap it. So I've gone back down to 26. Yeah, so 26, 24 would be my real preference. Because I'm getting older, can't get enough power into it. So I thought, hang on, but it didn't work.
What I remember about your game is your backhand. You've got such a good backhand. Yeah. Did you work on that a lot?
Yes. I mean, something that Peter said yesterday about repetition, and you can only really master a shot, I was told, if you do it at least 1,000 times. So backhand is something that I have practiced many, many times. And I used to practice against walls outside my house.
Did you?
I train like you wouldn't believe. And so, yeah, I favour my backhand, which is good. But the older you get, the less time you've got to get round to play around the head shot. Yeah. So I do rely on my backhand.
I've got a terrible backhand, so I always come around it, which is, I think it's good, but I just, I wish I had it in, was that they call it, the Arsenal? But
yeah.
I just don't,
it saves you falling off the court.
It's better for singles.
You're playing around the head shot, you fall off the court and you can't get back over.
I know so many people that turn more onto the backhand than the forehand. They literally they're standing on their forehand to hit it, and it's just off centre, and they can either go backwards like that, or they'll actually turn that way. And I know several people that actually go that way, the opposite direction. You think,
how does that work? It's bad footwork. If footwork is not correct, you're going to struggle.
That's right. And did you work on, when you got coached, did you work on your technique a lot? When your coach, Murray Cleghorn, coached you, was he a good coach?
Yes, he did. He put us.
Was he a good player as well? Like, had he been coached, I suppose?
I don't know his background in badminton, but yeah, he was a decent player. I don't know what he achieved in badminton. I never really asked him, to be honest with you. But he certainly put you through the drills. Drills was
Did he?
really important.
Was
Putting
that?
the shuttle down the line and picking up shuttle, running back. But a lot of shadow badminton. Shadow badminton is so important, and we hate that. Something you said about going back scissors, jump, and I try and instill that, because footwork, without your footwork and knowing where you are on a court before you hit a shot,
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
not.
And
You're
do you have so how many times a week do you play now? Is it very often?
Well, without COVID, it would certainly be 3.
Or would it?
Work alone, of course, but yeah, 3 if I could. Plus
Do they go on at like what time would they start? That's at the St Boswell's Club. What time? Just for a wee advert for people when it comes back. When does it start? What time does it start?
7 to 7:30, 7 o'clock ish to about 10:30.
Is
Die
it
Hard
really?
will still be there late, yeah. And the Boswell's, sorry, the Earlston one is again, I think it's 8 till 10.
Is it 8 till 10? Yeah, that's
Mhm,
good, isn't it? So family life. You don't have kids or anything like that, or you
Yeah,
don't have?
I've got a daughter,
You have a daughter?
Kira.
Kira,
She lives down
nice.
in Tunbridge Wells, and I tried to coach her, but it's attention span of like a fish. I gave up, and
Does she like it now? Does she? How old is she as well?
Kira's 30.
Wow,
Yeah, just turned 30, and we've got 2 grandkids.
fantastic. And does she play?
No, doesn't do any sports. Doesn't
No.
take after her old man, unfortunately. So
You've. It's one of them things. I think when you're a parent and they see your dad kind of going away all the time to do things, they start to resent what you do. So it becomes, do you want to come and do? No, I hate it. I absolutely hate badminton. That's what I get from my son. I hate badminton. And it was because same as I tried to get him to play golf as well, but I think it's one of them things as a parent, you go away, they see that thing as the thing that takes you away. So, and subconsciously, I think it stops them. I don't know. Colin Campbell will definitely say something different because he's quite the opposite. But for me, it was an absolute recoil. Oh, Babin, oh no way, I'm not doing that. So,
oh, shame. It's
so
something you either take to a sport, whatever it is,
yes,
or you don't. You cannot
absolutely.
force that on somebody.
Um, so that's sorry, I'm fine. I'm conscious of time. What's your favourite event now? What's your favourite event?
Favorite event. My favorite event was in the tournament or men's.
As an event like badminton,
Yeah,
like singles, doubles, mixed
men's. It's always
doubles, men's doubles.
Yeah,
And do you
yeah.
have a favourite partner?
Yeah, my favourite partner was a guy called Richard Cox, actually. Richard Cox now lives in Thailand,
Really?
in Selkirkshire in Thailand. And I used to play in the Kent Restricted with him. I'd also played at the club with him as well, and we played a lot of singles together. So I went to see him in Abu Dhabi when he lived there and played in Abu Dhabi. I've played in Thailand, not when I was with him, but he was my best partner. But
You've travelled a lot, so tell me about that. About travelling. How did you get from the borders to Kent? Say.
a friend of mine, Chris, used to live in Selkirk, but he was a fostered child. He put himself in that nationwide programme way back in the 70s, I think it was, and he got fostered into a family in Selkirk. Him and I became really good friends and training buddies, not badminton, but running. We used to run about 10 miles a night and then do the gym and stuff and swimming. And of course, I had my badminton. And then he moved down to Tunbridge Wells because his auntie lived there. And he wanted
So what
to
age
see.
was this? What age were you then?
I was 25, about 24, 25.
Right.
And
And
I
you were
phoned
doing
him up.
what for work at the time?
I was working in livestock auctioneers, John Swans in the St.
John
Boswell.
Swans.
Yeah. And so I phoned him up and he says, John, come down to Tunbridge Wells. And I said, Tunbridge where? So anyway, 4 days later, I was in Tunbridge Wells. And I ended up having a great life and a great career in Tunbridge Wells and worked in London.
How did you end up? Why? So you went to Tunbridge Wells, and he was into badminton, and moved down there, and then, and when did you start playing badminton down south, or did you?
Yeah, almost immediately I was looking for clubs.
Did you?
Yeah. It was some wonderful
And
clubs
did
there.
he play badminton at all?
No. He played squash.
Right.
In fact, he's the only person I've ever seen knock somebody out on a squash court. True, with a squash racket.
So you found. So what club did you play in Kent when you were in Kent? Do you remember?
Yeah, yeah. There was several clubs. I played in the Angel Centre, which is in Tumbridge in Kent.
Right.
St John's, which is a sports centre in Tunbridge Wells, and Trident Badminton Club, which is Langton Green, which were a fantastic standard, and they've got a lot of great players, including a guy called Martin Staden. And Martin Staden played in the All England Senior Singles and won that for many years in a row. So look out for that name, Martin Staden. His son and daughter were England juniors. So they all played at our club. So you can imagine we were pushed a little bit there.
What was it like when you first went? Obviously, a guy kind of mid-20s from Selkirk comes all the way down to the Big Smoke and goes to a badminton club first night. How was that experience?
It's fine because of what badminton is and the people that play badminton, you're automatically welcomed in. There's never really a nervous moment. It's a very, in a right way, incestuous game because it's a friendly place to be and a trusted place to be. So it was never an awkward, a moment. Apart from the most nervy bit of going to any new club is the first time you walk on court, because a lot of the clubs, certainly down there, and to a degree here, I suppose, you get vetted. So you want to know that you're good enough to go into that club.
How did you find the clubs?
Fantastic. The
No,
social.
no. How did you find them? You know,
Oh,
the three clubs you mentioned, how did you find them? Was it on Badminton England's website? What?
just the internet, the interweb, no problem. And people say, oh, by the way, I also play at this club.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. So I was introduced to a lot of people and a lot of clubs and a lot of tournaments. So certainly brought my game up hugely because in the borders, the standard down in Kent was far higher. So it amazingly brought my game up. Not that I was really that good anyway, but it certainly kept
It
me.
forces you, right? It forces you
Yeah,
to
well, yeah,
get that much better.
you have to. The more you play, the better you get. The sharper you are. I mean, I'm not looking forward to go back on the court in any competitive sense. Might take comfort in that because we're all
How
going
long
to
did
be
you go? Did you play down there for? How long did you stay down there for?
nearly 30 years.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm.
And what was your namesake club? What was that called?
That would be. Oh God, I wrote it down, didn't I? I've forgotten. It's the one at Langton Green.
Oh, right, good.
I was there for
And
quite a few
so,
seasons,
were
actually.
you in a team? Did they have multiple teams in league in a
Oh
league?
yeah. Oh God, yeah. They're up to, like, for instance, a men's E team,
Wow,
a mixed E team, a mixed F team. That's
wow.
how many teams it can get from one club.
I wonder if that's the same
It's
down there now, or if that's. I wonder if that sees the same diminishing numbers as you get in borders badminton and
I
badminton everywhere in Scotland. I wonder if that happens in these places.
don't know. I mean, good clubs attract good players,
Of course,
and because the Tunbridge Wells has been higher populace, you're going to get more people
of
coming
course.
along to a club.
But just general interest, it'd be interesting to know what that is like, isn't it? What's if it continues the same as your memories of it or of it being a certain way, but equally my memories of the borders of it being a certain way, and you do wonder if maybe these clubs are struggling like we are,
Yeah.
and not getting the numbers that your perception of it is that God, it's really busy down there, but maybe it's not now.
Oh, could easy find out.
Yeah,
Simple
be
text.
interesting to look. Be interesting to ask that question. So just come to an end now because I've got another. I've got another one after with Laura Muir. So do you feel as competitive now as ever when you play?
Yes, yes. I like to go out to win, but it's not everything now. Back in the day, of course, it was. Yeah, not at any cost, but I'd never cheat in the court. But yeah,
Would you
I,
get do you get angry if you're losing, or
not
do you get
not
angry with
now.
yourself? Or
I used to get really angry, and like a lot of
did you?
people, I've snapped rackets. But all I do, and anything you'll see me, if I get angry with myself on the court, I'll just gently tap my leg twice with a racket, and that's to say, "Come on, John, that was silly," or whatever it's going to be, rather than breaking my rackets at 200 quid a pop.
I do that, but I don't just tap it gently. I literally bruise it.
I don't.
So that's what I do. Okay, and the very last question, thank you, is what is it that you love about badminton over all of the things that you could have done? You've done various other things. What is it about badminton? Do you think that's different?
It's the social side of badminton. It's just the social side of it. It's amazing. That's what keeps me going because you've got this great camaraderie with everybody, and it's such a trusting sport. I mean, you could leave your phone and your wallet in your bag all day on court 1 and go and play in court 6 for the whole duration of a tournament. Come back, you're never going to even think that anybody would touch your gear. It's such a great place to be amongst all these fellow badminton players, whatever standard they are. And for me, it's about people learning from me and me learning from them, because you always learn something from everybody, and it's never going to change. And that's what I love still about it after 49 years playing.
49 years, coming up to 50. Let's hope you get back soon. Thank you,
Right.
John. That was awesome.
Martin, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for the
Take it easy.
opportunity.
Thank you very much thank you for joining me. Thank you.
Take care. See you in the court. Bye.
Cheers. That was good.
Right. So we're still talking just off.
We're still
air,
talking. We're still talking.